Hey everyone, it's the Dreamer's Edge podcast. I'm Dimitri, movie critic and television critic for AskMan.com and BillyDoo.com and TheDreamer'sEdge.com, come to think of it. I'm sitting here with...
This is Chris. I'm an editor and occasional writer.
Eric, high school teacher, sometimes writer.
And I'm Francois, cyber librarian. I am brought to you by the letter K and the number 3.
And there you go. Now, Susan, you know what our voices are. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming summer movies and talk about what we want to see. So let's start in May. Robin Hood with, I forget his name.
We got Russell Crowe and Kate Winslet? No, Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, yeah. No problem with Kate Blanchett because she can pretty much play anything. In fact, she has, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But Russell Crowe as Robin Hood, I saw the trailer. He's all grim. He's all like, I'm dark and looking for vengeance and I'm going to talk like Christian Bale. And I'm like...
and rise again.
Yeah. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, aren't you the leader of the Merry Men? You know?
Well, this is the prequel. They're not happy yet.
But Ridley Scott, is there a film that you guys like of Ridley Scott?
Well, yeah.
There are a number.
Alien.
Blade Runner,
thank you.
But wait, do you like Blade Runner, just because if you look at the plot-wise and everything, like, the movie's kind of boring. Visually, it's stunning.
Good point about Blade Runner. Actually, personally, I know why it's a good movie and why people love it, but I'm not a fan of it myself.
Yeah.
But Alien. I love Alien.
Alien's pretty good, but, if I look at all of the movies, I'm always disappointed. Visually stunning. He is probably one of the best visual directors, but can't tell a story.
Well, the thing is, the medieval era wasn't really that pretty. The people were kind of messy and dirty. You know, like, it's not polished, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's kind of a grim, monotone-looking trailer, you know, and a lot of flashback, a lot of repeated scenes. I admit, though, that out of, the stories of my youth, Arthur and his round table and the sword and everything didn't interest me as much as Robin Hood. I don't know why. I just thought bow and arrows were cool.
I think Robin Hood, they should have made it Rocket Robin Hood. Then...
And then the whole Ridley Scott thing makes sense. And reuse all those old Alien sets.
There you go.
May 21st, we got two movies that I want to talk about. The fourth Shrek movie.
It's just tired, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, the whole franchise is tired.
Well, this is DreamWorks, right?
Yeah,
And I think they just greenlit How to Train Your Dragon for a sequel, which I think is great. But this is a franchise, the Shrek series, that they should have stopped.
Yeah.
Well, question though, like the third one, was it successful or like? I mean, I confess I haven't seen it.
I'm sure it made money. I mean,
Okay.
it's a kids movie, and kids like repetition.
The actors aren't even in the same room together. You can schedule it around their schedule. It's just you can do it pretty quickly and easily.
I thought the third one was tired, repetitive, and most of all, it was not funny. And I think it's a bygone era. Like the whole idea of the pop culture infused kids movie, been there, done that.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Coming out on the same week is MacGruber, based on I think it's an SNL sketch, isn't it? Alright, how many of those are going to pop out before they learn that they're not funny?
Yikes.
There's a lot of them.
That's
a lot.
Yeah.
That to me is like, it's like kryptonite. I stay away from it.
Yeah, well, most people do. They
me
don't
too.
do well anymore because people have learned that an SNL sketch does not a movie make.
Well, it's like a 5-minute skit that all of a sudden is stretched out for an hour and 30 minutes.
And then kicked.
And then these aren't the John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd days
Yeah,
by
exactly.
a long shot. So,
Although, in fairness, like these are also very talented comedians, I find. I mean, like,
oh yeah.
I think everybody has their golden age of SNL, and depending on their age, it's a different era, which makes me believe that it's not so much that they've gotten worse as much as we've disconnected with that type of humor because we're not of that generation anymore.
I've never been a really disciplined SNL watcher, but I have seen some of the MacGruber clips, and they're funny for like 2-minute clips. I would never watch a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
Well, there are only two really. I mean, there's the Wayne World's, dare I call it, franchise, which was, I guess, moderately successful, or at least successful enough they got a second one.
Wayne's World made $150 million 15 or 20 years ago. That's a lot of money
20 years
at
ago.
the time.
Yeah.
So it was really successful.
Does anybody remember Pat? Oh yeah, they did
Coneheads.
Coneheads was like
What was
seriously.
the one the John Smiley, like, he would look at himself in the mirror, like...
they made a movie out of this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
they did.
Yeah.
Sex in the City 2, that's right. Well, the Sex in the City 1 was pretty much universally panned, which is a weird thing.
Although, it did well in the box office.
It did well in the first week. I don't remember for the subsequent weeks though, because it did gangbusters on the first week.
Okay.
It's sort of it's sort of like when they made Batman and Robin based on the gross of the first week of Batman Forever, going like, people want to see Batman. It's sort of like, not anymore. They don't, you know.
I admit I've never been a follower of the show Sex and the City, and I didn't see the movie. The shows that I did watch, actually, they're sharp, they're witty.
The thing with the first movie is that it didn't capture any of that humor.
I heard the first movie is actually uncomfortable because they force a black character into it.
Oh, that was terrible. Well, it's because that's a running thing with Sex and the City. It's sort of like Friends. It's like the only version of New York where no black people are there. And yeah, that was really awkward. But there's also a lot of potty humor in the first one and all that. Having said that, I mean,
really?
Yeah.
They would go there.
A
They
lot.
went there?
Oh, yeah, totally. And the thing with Sex and the City, too, though, in fairness, is sort of like it might be their chance to get it right. Because, I mean, this is a creative team that has it in them. And maybe they just, they screwed the pooch on the first one. Doesn't mean they're going to screw the pooch on the second one.
No, that's true.
Maybe. All right. We got, I'm adding this just for personal reasons. I doubt anybody is as interested as I am. But we got George A. Romero's Survival of the Dead.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I don't know who's asking for them, but they're getting pretty prime real estate on the summer schedule.
I've got friends that are prepared for the zombie apocalypse. We're talking discussions about which stores to go to first. I'm pretty sure there are some stashes of supplies around the island.
Well, the University of Ottawa actually made a doctoral study of how to survive the zombie apocalypse and how to contain it.
I read the outline to that study. I was afraid and laughing at the same time, but anyways.
Prince of Persia.
Oh boy.
Hey, I played the first one, man. There's this bit in the mirror where you have to put your sword away, and then your double puts the sword away, and that allows you to get past level 3 or something.
Okay. When you said the first one, I assumed you meant the 8-bit version on the Atari.
I think. Oh, maybe not the 8-bit version.
Is it that old?
Oh yeah. It's one of the first video games ever. It was like a little guy running and just jumping on to get to the other side of the screen.
So the whole, because this is basically parkour through the sands of Arabia.
The cities themselves, when they show the shot of the city, it does look beautiful, but I don't know.
Look, it's based on a video game. When's the last time there was a good movie based on a video
That's
game?
what I was trying to think.
There is
Super Mario Brothers was underrated.
Oh my god!
Oh, shut your mouth.
Maybe Doom.
No, I mean, I will admit I like Silent Hill.
Probably the most successful one was Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah, that's only because it had Rimmer.
No, I think it's Angelo actually. I'm pretty sure. All right, moving on. Get him to the Greek.
By the people who brought us Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yeah. Is it the same character? Cause
Yeah.
It is?
It's the same. Yeah, so I'm actually kind of curious, because I didn't think I'd like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, because I was starting to get tired of the whole Judd Apatow industry, but I watched it, and that was a great film. I enjoyed it. And, if the same type of approach goes to this one, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more hard-on comedy.
Yeah.
But it might be fun.
We also have Killers with Katherine Heigl and Ashton Kutcher, which is the second of many date movies with action related to them. We already had Date Night.
I really don't like Katherine Heigl. That's what it comes down to.
I agree with you. It's nothing against her as an actress. I think she could be good in a lot of roles, but in romantic comedies, which she seems to be playing time after time, she's totally the wrong actress for it because she's a little bit uppity.
Yeah.
And it's the last thing you want in a romantic comedy because you want her to be an every woman. You want to be like, that's my friend, that's me.
And that's why Sandra Bullock is so good and she's not.
But I really don't like Ashton Kutcher. I really hate him.
Ever since he started dating Demi Moore, man. He broke her away from Bruce Willis.
No, for me it was the Butterfly Effect. I hated that film.
With the alternate ending?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see the alternate ending.
Oh.
I didn't see
No
the
spoilers,
first ending.
But rent the DVD, watch the alternate ending.
Oh, I put my alarm clock at 4 o'clock in the morning just to hate it more.
The Karate Kid.
Is it going to be a woman again this time?
No, it's not.
No,
Not Hilary Swank this time. It's a complete reboot. It's going to take place in China, which doesn't explain why it's karate, but whatever.
Exactly. It should be the Kung Fu Kid.
It totally should. Although, I mean, why would you buy the franchise and not use the title? And it's going to be Jackie Chan in the Miyagi-type role, and Will Smith's son as the young Karate Kid.
I think this could be a really good role for Jackie Chan. We've seen him do The Spy Next Door, The Tuxedo, a bunch of really ridiculous movies. None of them have taken off, but he's a really talented actor, and he's obviously a gifted athlete, and I could see him do something pretty fun at this.
Yeah, I liked was it Shanghai Noon? Shanghai Nights?
Noon and Night, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I liked him in buddy comedies like that.
Yeah,
but I think it'll be interesting for him as kind of like the mentor, just because he is getting older.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's past the buddy cop.
Yeah, I think so too.
Age,
But the guy's in phenomenal shape.
Oh, he totally is. Well, if you watch his Asian movies, like his American movies, you don't get to see him show off as much, and I'm sure it's insurance related. But if you watch his Asian movies, he's still kicking ass and taking names,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I will say that sometimes, for better or worse, your attachment to the original colors your perspective. I guess I saw the original at a really right age, and I was really blown away by it.
It's a really good movie, except for the karate parts,
Probably. But, they're over the top and very 80s,
The blonde
the Cobras.
and,
whatever it is. But, I love Jackie Chan, but I wonder if he's got the dramatic chops, so to speak, to really pull off anything like the original Miyagi, which, again, my perspective is very colored from my attachment to the original, but...
I believe he does in terms of his acting skills, but I do have an issue about the role itself, however. The whole thing with Miyagi is that in the 80s, he represented this sort of person you misunderstood and underestimated because he's an Asian immigrant, he's old, and he's small, and so we tend to dismiss him, and in reality, he had a lot to offer the people around him. And that this young guy that he was getting bullied was sort of the same way. He felt that he had a lot to offer to the world, but nobody was giving him a chance. And so his relationship with Miyagi was very special on that level, and Miyagi kind of represented the ultimate immigrant back then, Mm-hmm. And, well, since the movie takes place in China this time, and he's a Chinese man helping the young man who is the immigrant in this case, he comes off as more of a Chinese apologist instead of this ultimate immigrant character, and so you kind of lose the heart of the original story. So they have to go in a different place, and I'm not sure where they could go with it is as interesting as the original story would have been.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do badly, but I'm wondering how much money this will make. It's not going to have the awesome special effects. They're not going to fight 50 people, and for the summer, we're starting to expect more of the spectacle.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Although, it might be a welcome break between spectacles, though.
That's true.
Yep.
Or, if you'd rather the spectacle again, the A-Team is coming out on the same week.
Speaking of my attachment to the original, the original was a complete mess. But it's a mess that worked. It's an 80s show. It makes no sense. Don't make a movie out of it. You'll just ruin it.
But although it's worth noting that it wasn't supposed to make sense in the 80s. I mean, the producers were writing it as a comedy, and Absolutely. It was misunderstood as this campy action thing.
Yeah. At the same time, didn't we say everything we needed to say with the A-Team, with the TV show? Did we really need to make a movie?
That's true. And also, I mean, I think there already is a remake of the A-Team out. It's called The Losers.
Yeah.
The Hangover worked because it was a bunch of guys really kind of getting along and having a good time together. Mm-hmm. And I think they're going to try and recreate that with the A-Team. Oh, okay. You want basically just these guys who they're good at what they're doing, but it's just that, they tease each other, they fight with each other, and you just want this chemistry. And, then there's going to be a bunch of explosions and it's going to be a bit of a heist. If it doesn't work, though, if that chemistry isn't there and it's just being imposed on us, I think it's going to flop.
Yeah,
I agree.
So if it gets good press the first week, then it might do well.
Toy Story 3D.
I have to say, this is one of the ones I'm really looking forward to.
You know what? It's sort of cool that it's going to be in 3D because the first Toy Story was the first CGI animated feature film. And, back then it was like, that was our 3D. You know what I mean? Like, that's animation in 3D. And so it's fitting that Toy Story would go 3D. It's one of those where it's like, it doesn't feel artificial.
I'm not too crazy about the whole going 3D for everything, and sometimes just one scene that they tacked on, and you're like, really? Do I need to pay the extra money to have it 3D? But I think for Toy Story 3, it's a good story, and I think it's going to be great in 3D. I think it's really going to work.
Even for Pixar, I think it's actually kind of smart to, they've kind of been going high concept, if you know what I mean, with WALL-E and Ratatouille, and then, sorry, I was going to say Up in the Air, but with Up, it's just, these... Basically, these things all hinge on an image, And this one kind of goes back a little bit to the roots of, almost a little bit more childish in a way.
Well, they're toys, totally, yeah.
Exactly, and I think that's good, because you don't want to go too far out there and, just kind of go the art house route of animation,
I love the writing for the Toy Story series, so I mean, like, actually, the 3D thing. I'm not gonna say I couldn't care less, but I'm saying that like it's definitely gonna be the selling point to me. They've always done something incredible with it, so I'm really looking forward to it and just enjoying the experience.
On the same week comes Jonah Hex.
Yeah.
The trailers have finally come out.
Oh, they haven't seen them.
It just looks bad. Really bad. You know? And considering that, the movie's going to be coming out pretty soon, this is the first trailer they've really put, so I think, there's been a lot of rumors about, reshoots and, the movie isn't going to get finished.
But I saw just a poster of it, and like instantly my immediate reaction to it was like, Wild Wild West.
But what's the story? Like, I never read the DC comic.
After the Civil War, a deformed ex-Confederate soldier wanders the West, and
He's hard to kill.
He's hard to kill, and he stands up for the poor, unfortunate ones who, more often than not, happen to be Southerners who are fleeing the massive destruction in the wake of the Civil War.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just, I got a bad
That's
feeling
why I
about
didn't read the
this.
comics.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. Night and Day, our third romantic comedy with action bits in it, this time with Tom Cruise and...
Cameron Diaz.
Thank you. Well, first of all, better actors.
Better actors, or is it just Mr. and Mrs. Smith 2?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, because it
that's
just
how-
met, though.
That's how the trailer made me feel, though. I'm not a big fan of either actor. That said, I think it could be a good date movie, so I'm willing to... I'd probably watch it, for sure.
I actually like the actors for this. Well, Cameron Diaz, I think, is a really underrated actress. I loved her in Any Given Sunday, for example. I thought she was terrific in that. I wish she would play dramatic roles more often, because I think she's better at those. But I think Tom Cruise is an inspired choice for that because he's sort of disconnected from reality at this point. So him swooping in this romantic comedy as this super spy who does crazy stuff is sort of like his off-screen persona will play into that quite well.
It seemed like when I saw the trailer, his character seemed to be kind of a comedic turn on the role he plays in Collateral.
I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of Tom Cruise. I did like him in Magnolia, but whenever he's in the movie, I'm like, I'll skip it.
Grown-ups on the same week. It looks a little bit like Funny People,
It's a good cast. I actually liked Funny People. A lot of people didn't, so I might go see this one.
I'm definitely going to see it. I think it's such an interesting cast. And I tend to really like Adam Sandler when he doesn't play goofy comedies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I didn't like Funny People.
Well, I think you're in the majority. Not very many people did.
I did not see Funny People.
All right, moving on.
Planetarily speaking, I think I'm in the majority.
Moving on then. June 30th, the date everyone's waiting for, of course, for the Twilight Saga Eclipse. Everybody tells me who have read the big book that this is the book where everybody turns on Bella. Like every reader goes like, "That's it, screw her. I hate this woman."
What worked in the first movie was that they really did sell it to the female audience. It was a romance, and more, they seem to be trying to sell it more to the male audience. Like it becomes more and more the actioner.
Yeah, which is foolish.
And I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're losing their core audience. The people who are going to go watch it 6 and 7 times. A guy might now go watch it once for the action, but they're not going to go back 20 times.
And they're not going to watch it at all. Because, like, any guy, is going to be like, I'm not going to be caught dead watching anything Twilight related.
I think this is a case where Summit had a great franchise possibility. They're still going to make money. Don't get me wrong, but I'm disappointed with the way they're handling it.
I agree. I'm in total agreement with you. I saw them all so far, and I loved the first one. Like, not love, but I really liked it. I really respected it. I thought, like, this is a solid movie that's not made for me,
Yeah, well, it's the only one I saw.
Yeah. And the second one I hated with a passion.
A lot of my women friends who've read the books, and some of them really love the books, will say the same thing. They'll say they really like the first one. It's very atmospheric. But the second one was really not all that great.
And it's kind of funny, like my students, the girls were talking about it, and they said that the stud there, the lead, like they didn't find him hot.
Okay.
Like they were saying, oh my God, he looks like a junkie. He's so pale and everything. So they like the other one, the werewolf
Jacob,
guy.
right?
Yeah, apparently because he takes off his shirt.
Does he have hairy nipples?
No.
I don't know.
July
Just hairy hands.
July 2nd, The Last Airbender, or Avatar before somebody took the name like 10 years before.
And this is the latest in the retro 3Ds. they just announced, so...
Yeah. Although, I will say, like, the franchise is pretty good to begin with. And I kind of like the idea of somebody reining in M. Night Shyamalan. Like, I always felt he's a very talented director that somebody needs to, like, grab hold of and go like, no, don't do this. No, bad Shyamalan,
Yeah.
And this is a project where that's sure to have happened quite a few times,
Well, he's interesting in the sense that he always creates atmosphere. And he does know how to create tension. He's not too great when he's writing his own scripts.
Yeah, his scripts really rely on like the gimmick reveal at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can base it on someone else's story, maybe we can get away from that. I saw the trailer again today, and it looks good. In terms of overseas marketability, and it's something that I kind of noticed just watching the trailer. It seems like the good guys are white and the bad guys are darker skinned. Is that something from the anime?
No.
Okay, so do you think that's going to play against it in terms of?
It depends how it's done, because it's one of those things where sometimes it's just a coincidence, and that's how it comes off. That's all there is. But if it looks a little bit more intentional than that, then it's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
sure.
and I haven't watched it. This is just from the trailer. I'm just curious.
'Cause I think we've reached that point enough to know the difference between real racism and just coincidental racism. I think.
Yeah.
Well, some people are really pissed off at the fact that all the Imperials in Star Wars speaking British accent.
No, fuck that.
Some people. We share the same queen, guys.
Predators. I think that's a great franchise for Robert Rodriguez to be producing. Actually, I think he's the man to do it. Totally.
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
Looks cool.
It looks pretty damn cool.
It does.
What was AVP, Requiem, and all those movies? Those were horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to pretend that none of that happened, and I'm going to go back into this.
Well, Predators is aiming to help you with this because Rodriguez has declared that this is written as a sequel to the first Predator movie, and the other ones never happened.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for the Predator where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny Glover team up to take on the new Predators.
You dream of this, and I'm going to watch this movie that looks way better than that.
I will say this: the upcoming Predators. I guess I haven't seen the trailers, but it is based on modern day. Like we're dealing with the same timeline.
It seems like it.
I think it's more complicated than that, though. I don't know if... Well, you know what? They announced it at a press conference, so I guess it's not a spoiler. But the whole idea...
Maybe not. There is a planet.
Yeah, that's it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's people from different backgrounds being taken to a planet where they're going to be hunted.
Okay. See, I like that idea right off the bat. Stay away from the Earth environment and go somewhere else where things might be more interesting.
Yeah, totally. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, July 16th.
Chris, your favorite actor is in this movie.
Oh, really? Is this Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. Yes.
He's playing the role of Mickey Mouse?
No. I end up watching every Nicolas Cage movie. I don't know how it happens.
What else is new?
Mostly it happens with you buying a ticket and then going into the theater.
I don't know. I think I've just got, I got a crush on the guy. It's his hair.
It looks really, really, really bad trying to cash in on the whole Harry Potter there.
But I don't think the studios have much hope in it anyway, because they are releasing it on the same week as Christopher Nolan's Inception.
Yeah.
And I think that's the movie that's going to take it,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Christopher Nolan, you can't really go wrong. Like, I think he's a very talented director, and
DiCaprio's...
he is.
He's a good
really
leading
good.
man.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
really buy him at first, but
Yeah.
he's growing into it, and I don't even know what the movie's about. I think they're stealing dreams or something like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a science fiction element to it, and the scenes that it looks like the little girl is re-warping reality and rebuilding it. They're so spectacular, man.
Mm-hmm. Is it based on a book or is it a graphic novel?
I don't think it's based on anything because otherwise we would know what it's about.
I think it's that's the movie I want to see this summer. That's the one.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Moving on to Salt with Angelina Jolie.
this one doesn't interest me at all.
Oh, that's the one where she's the Russian spy. Or...
Yeah, she wears different wigs.
I don't know. I'm a little bit afraid that the trailer, if you guys have seen it,
Yeah.
tells the entire story. I'm a little bit afraid of that.
So what's the story about?
She's being accused of being a spy, and she kicks everybody's ass and gets out of there. And she might be the spy in question, or she might not.
Da, da, da.
Dinner for Schmucks on the same week. That's based on the French film Le Dîner des Cons, which I thought was slightly overrated, actually.
Really? You didn't like it?
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was as amazing as everybody says it is.
Well, it can't be because now you're dealing with the hype. Like, I remember when everybody was talking about Speed and, oh my god, it's so good, it's so good. And then when I saw it, I'm like, that's it?
Thumbs down. I hate it. No.
But isn't it cool? I thought it was pretty funny.
I think the basic idea is fairly interesting. So, like, you know...
So what's the premise for those who haven't seen it?
It's kind of an elite group. What they do, they go around and they have this dinner where they find like some putz or one of the biggest idiots that they met, and they'll gather around and they'll have dinner, and whoever brought in like the dumbest guy wins.
For those of you who are younger amongst our listeners, it's the same plot as the Wizard of Waverly episode called Alex's Choice.
Or some that's older, it's the same plot as Dogfight.
Dimitri, I did not understand your reference in any way, shape, or form. I guess that means I'm just too old.
The point of the movie is this guy meets the biggest schmuck that ever lived, and he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna win the contest, and he throws his back out, and it's him trying to get rid of the other guy, but he has to use him. The movie was pretty funny. I did enjoy it, but sometimes the Americans have a hard time, like...
adapting French comedy?
Yeah, adapting French comedy. Like, it looks weird when you see it, like, the American style.
Well, I'm trying to think of a single remake of a French comedy that's actually funny. It's because, like, I'm thinking of, you know, The Toy, which was a remake of a Pierre Richard movie, and that was god-awful.
Taxi.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
So we're guessing that this is...
And it's too bad because, like, the French one is very funny.
Oh, yeah. But the movie I'm really going to see anyway on that week is going to be Ramona and Beezus.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
August 13, we got The Expendables. Now that I am looking forward to. It's the Sylvester Stallone directed movie with every action star that ever graced the screen. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Like Jet Li, like, what's the new guy? Jason
Statham.
Yeah. Even Schwarzenegger's in it.
Yeah, Bruce Willis as well.
Yeah.
They're all in there, man.
I thought that was like a dream.
It's pretty much everyone who owns a part of Planet Hollywood. And I think it's in their contract, somewhere in there, and Stallone showed up and said, remember that contract? You've got to now act in my movie.
Okay, but hold on, like, Schwarzenegger's in it?
I don't think it's a big part.
No, it's just like some little cameo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably actually, yeah. It's I wasn't expecting anything more than that, really, but
But I'm curious to go see that.
Which is kind of a shame.
Sounds like it could be fun.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, you know what? I would have been afraid because of all the big names in it if it weren't directed by Sylvester Stallone. Like, for some reason, that was sort of like the seal of approval for me, you know?
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone since the last Rocky movie, then the Rambo movie, and I don't know, like, I feel like his career, as much as he's going back to the roots, is actually doing something kind of interesting right now.
No, he should make Cobra 2.
No, Over the Top too.
Oh yeah.
Coming up on the same week, though, is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, that's a comic, right?
Yeah, it's based on the Scott Pilgrim comic. Like the...
Never read them.
They're worth it. They're pretty funny, and they're on the shrine of every geek person out there.
But has the world gotten enough of Michael Cera?
I think they have. Well, actually, that's the thing. I would have wanted them to cast somebody like Jesse Eisenberg instead of Michael Cera in the role of Scott Pilgrim, and I was disappointed. It was like, oh, great, more Michael Cera.
That's it. I love him, but at the same time, I think everyone's a little bit tired of his shtick.
You should just go back to doing the Arrested Development movie, damn it.
But the thing with Scott Pilgrim... I'm totally ignoring you. The thing with Scott Pilgrim versus the World is it's coming out in mid-August. That's usually where they dump the movies they don't really have much faith in, and that's a little bit worrisome. It could be that they don't know how to market it. That's possible, but I don't know.
Well, sometimes there's wisdom in putting something that's a bit of an X factor into a dead sort of set of weeks, because you know, you're kind of hoping for the hit.
But there's a movie that I don't know which week is coming out that I really want to see is Step Up 3D.
Step up.
I love dancing, first of all. I love dancing in the movies. It's like all those old school musicals are gorgeous. And the Step Up franchise, though the stories are always remarkably stupid, like Step Up to the Street is probably one of my favorite titles because apparently Step Up 1 took place on an avenue instead. But look, the 3D stuff for dancing, I think, yeah, that's where 3D is going to be useful. It's going to be such a spectacle.
Yeah, for concert footage and for something like that, you're right. Yeah. I saw the trailer for it today, actually, and the dancing looked good. I personally don't think I'd go watch it, but I'm not one to watch any of the dancing shows.
August 27th, we have Piranha 3D. Come on. Piranha 3D.
I'm so there, man.
I'm so there.
Seriously. James Cameron got to start on Piranha too, man. Like, seriously? I'm totally... He's doing it, right? James Cameron's doing it, right?
No. I think they're using his camera.
What? Okay, wait, he's not doing it? He's not doing... It's 3D. Come on, man. It has to be. He was going to go back to the source, man. Like, his first directorial debut was Piranha 2, so he was going to... Like, tell me he wasn't, like... I thought he was going to, like, really go back to the roots.
Bye-bye.